It may come as no surprise to say that I'm running the Austin Marathon, and today I'll be covering four things. First, my timeline for when I'm going to be running and my training. The second is my goals for it. The third is lessons for my half marathon and what I need to improve on. And the fourth is what I'm going to be doing different with the lessons that I have. So first, I'll be covering the timeline. The timeline is important because it gives me a range for how I should improve my growth over my mileage and what kind of training I have to do between now and then the marathon. So I have until now to February 15th to run, and that gives me about 18 weeks, which is around 4 months. So it's not a whole lot of time, but it's not a small amount of time either. So I should be able to train enough to where I can accomplish a lot of my goals. For my goals, I have two main ones. And the reason I have two of them is because I want to accomplish as much as I can between now and when I run it. So my main goals are I want to be able to finish it and I want to get jacked. Now obviously that's pretty hard to do, so I have to lay it out very clearly as to what I want to accomplish. In terms of marathon goals, of course, I just want to finish it, and hopefully I don't puke along the way when I do. If I can do that, I would like to be able to finish within 4 to 5 hours. If I can get within that time range, that'd be really good for beginner time, and that'll set me up later for better times in the future. Now, in terms of strength goals, this is one of the more important things I want to focus on because I don't want to just be like a skinny boy running a marathon. I want to be pretty muscular. In terms of what my physique wants to be, I want to be at least 10 pounds leaner than my Christmas weight because I'll be cutting after Christmas pretty hard for the marathon and for the rest of the semester. If I can get 10 pounds leaner or more, then that's a good enough metric for me to hit. And the next, in terms of pure strength, I want to be able to hold a handstand for at least 3 seconds with clean form. So right now my record is around 1 to 2 seconds with good form. If I can get 3, that's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Next is gonna be the lessons for my half marathon. And this is very important because I don't think I ran the half marathon perfectly, especially with my training, since I only had a month to train and that was my first ever super long distance thing that I've done. So learning from that, I have a couple of lessons. The first one is, since I only gave myself 1 month, I increased my weekly mileage way too quickly, and that led to a lot more exhaustion and tiredness than I should have because I didn't build enough of a cardio base to make sure that I was preventing any injuries from happening. I got a lot of soreness after my long runs, even though that shouldn't happen within your training. The next lesson is I didn't eat enough carbs during my training, so my runs were a lot harder than intended. Because if you know, running depletes a lot of your glycogen stores in your muscles, which is just stored carbs. And since I didn't eat too many carbs whenever I was training for the half marathon, it was really hard pushing through those long distances when I needed those extra carbs. And the third lesson, I lost a lot of muscle during my training because I didn't do a lot of strength training stuff consistently. That's important because having muscle makes it a lot easier to cut. And since I'm gonna be doing that and I want to get jacked, I just wanna keep as much muscle as I can as I train for the marathon, even though it'll be really hard because the running is gonna be intense. So from these lessons, I have a couple of things that I want to change. First one, with my poor mileage growth, I set up this plan to have a logistic growth, which means it's a slow start and then it's fast in the middle and then it'll taper off at the end with a bit of a taper week so that I don't over exert myself during my training. And next, in terms of my nutrition, I'm gonna add a lot more carbs into my meals, even though that'll make it harder to cut, but I'll just have to lower my overall amount of food because if I can get pre-workout carbs and then post-workout carbs, it'll make the runs a lot easier and it'll make my recovery a lot faster, which is very important for these intensive trainings. And during my longer runs, I'll also include energy gels so I can practice fueling for the actual race day. Now, third thing, in terms of my strength training, I'm gonna do calisthenics and BJJ consistently so I maintain my muscle and I maintain my strength. And on my easy runs, I'll do calisthenics. So those days when I have easy runs, I'll do calisthenics the same day. And then for BJJ, I'll do them on separate days because of how intense that can be. And I do not want to do that on the same day as like a long run. All right, up next will be what my plan is for the marathon exactly. So I have metrics and KPIs within a Google Sheet so I can track it every week and make sure that I'm as objective as possible while still leaving room for discretion based on how well I feel during my longer runs so that I can adjust the mileage for the next week. All right, so here's my marathon tracker. And basically I have these set out in 18 weeks. So I'll probably start my first run this week. And as you can see, these first couple of runs are just around 6 miles and it doesn't get past 7 until week 5. So like I said before, this first initial month of training is gonna be really slow and steady, trying to build my base for cardio and running. And then I have 4 runs set, a long run, a tempo run, an easy calisthenics run, and then a recovery run, which will just be super short and super easy. And then I have also planned 2 BJJ days. So on Friday and Sunday, that's when I'll be doing my BJJ sessions to hopefully maintain as much strength as I can. And then I also have the total mileage tracked. So as you can see, in the very peak of training, I'll be running around 50 miles a week, which is gonna be a lot, but with proper nutrition and recovery, I think I can make it through. And then after, I'll be entering my average pace and exhaustion from after my runs, and that'll give me a suggestion for what I can do next week. So if the runs were really easy because I'm improving really fast, I'll improve my mileage quickly so that I can be even more prepared for the marathon. But if I get super tired and I can't run as long of a distance as I thought, then I'll reduce my mileage and slowly build up my base, because keeping myself uninjured and ready to train for the next day is very important. Now, I have a couple of other notes, but basically it just means that if I feel like I can't run this distance, I'll take off distance the next week so that I can train properly. And if I do improve a lot, then I can add on mileage. And I just have to make sure I'm recording my exhaustion and my pace properly so that I can find where I'm lacking and what I need to improve on the next day. And if I need to, I can take off my BJJ days, I can take off my calisthenics days, and just focus on running, because that's my main goal. Strength is just my second goal. All right, with that being said, this is everything I'm doing for my marathon training. It'll be really fun, it'll be really intensive, but I think I'll make it through. And every week I'll come out with some updates on my Instagram account so that you guys can keep track of what I'm doing, to make sure that I'm staying accountable and you guys can follow me along if you're doing something else that's super hard and you've never done before.